think about the things that I see during the week, I open my eyes and am totally amazed. I mentioned last Sunday that I'm glad that I only have 5 minutes to come here, but my other church I had to drive an hour and 20 minutes. And I had to leave really early on Sunday morning. But you know, the incredible thing about that is to see the sunrise, to be in the countryside of Kansas and the amazing work of God's hands, seeing all that God has done. That brings joy to my heart. And I say, wow, God, you do really good work. And it's pretty amazing. Seeing is believing. In our Old Testament lesson, Nehemiah is a proud leader. He has won battles and he is a powerful person. But he has this disease of leprosy. Now, they had just captive a young girl from Israel who became the slave of Naaman's wife. And when she saw Naaman, I'll get it straight. She said, you know, if only he could see the servant, the prophet in Israel, the Samaritan. If only he could do that. And so there's this back and forth between Naaman and Elijah. The tearing of clothes, and then the proud moment where I'll go and see him. And he gets there. Naaman gets there and he comes before Elijah's house, and Elijah sends a messenger down. The nerve sends a messenger down to meet him and to give him this message. Go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan River. Now, if any of you have ever been to Israel, the Jordan River is not like other rivers that we know about here, like the Mighty Mo. It's kind of narrow and not as deep. And Naaman tells his servants, you know, why isn't he coming down and waving his magic hands and solving my leprosy? Why do I have to go into this river? There are better places. And so he goes and he does this thing because his servants tell him, you know, if he had asked you to do something difficult, would you not have done it? And so he goes and he does this. And the amazing thing happens is that his skin becomes like that of a young boy. In fact, if you look at the language of the Old Testament, you would know that the wording is the same as the young girl who began the whole process of healing her master. Seeing is believing. For Naaman begins to see that the only God that exists is God in Israel. It changes everything for him. And he sees a new way of being. In the gospel reading, we hear another story of seeing and believing. Jesus is walking and he comes into this village that is not the safest of communities. But Jesus doesn't always choose the safest routes in life. And as he goes into this village, the lepers cry out to him, and he approaches them and tells them, go, show yourself to the priest. And they're like, you mean we can go back into the community? You're telling us that something amazing is going to happen? And so they go to the priest, but only the foreigner, who's not quite sure why they have to go to the priest. He's not in tune with the traditions of the Jewish community there. And so, as soon as he realized what happens, he sees that his body is whole. He runs back to Jesus, prostrates himself, and praises God. And Jesus does say, why is it this foreigner that came back? What happened to the other 9? Well, the other 9 had to go because see the priests so they could get back into their community, so that they could get back their lives. And they probably too are thankful for what Jesus has done. But it is life-changing for all of them and for Jesus' disciples who are with him to see this miraculous thing happen. Seeing is believing. One of the things as interim pastor that I'll be doing is seeing those things that you as a congregation may have lost sight of. Maybe missed what is going on here. When you've had a good and faithful pastor like Pastor Dave was, there are still questions of what's going on. Where do we go next? And so, as interim, I'm going to watch and I'm going to listen. Because here's the thing. I believe God is in your midst. God is doing incredible things. It's easy sometimes to get down on ourselves as a congregation that if only we could do this, or if we hadn't have done this, or if we only. But we need to see and be grateful for the things that are happening. And to see where God is active in our midst. The past couple of weeks that I've been here, I've been meeting with the staff on Tuesday mornings. And we've talked about the ministries that are happening here. And I have to tell you, you have a great staff. And they have great dreams and hopes for our work together as interim and as staff and as members of this body. That we together can accomplish so much. But sometimes we need to put our pettiness aside and see what is really important for us to be involved in this place. I think about the work that the church council and I have begun. I met with them before I actually started and talking about how this could work as interim and congregation. And we talked about some of the hopes and dreams that we could accomplish as we look at our work together. And I'm just excited about beginning that work with them and helping them see as interim, asking curious questions about what is going on here. And then Friday night, I was here for the tailgate party, and there were a few people here. We had chili, and we talked around the fire, and as people walked by, we handed out crackers and then a little magnet thing to give to the people who were coming. And you see, some people may think, oh, that's a crazy thing, that's a silly thing, but man, that being present in the community when such an event like the Chili Challenge is happening is important. It is a way for people to see and believe that this church wants to be active in the community. As children of God, we need to see where God is at work every day of our lives. Name it and claim it, and live it out. Because seeing is believing. It moves us and energizes us to see what God is doing. So just know this, I'll be watching. I'll be paying attention to you. Don't be afraid. I read in a Facebook post that in the Bible, in Scripture, the words "do not be afraid" is there 365 times. So, Each day, think about those scripture readings where God is telling you, the church is telling you, your faith is telling you, do not be afraid. God is with you always. God will not forsake you or abandon you. God has found you. You are no longer lost. And the angels in heaven are rejoicing. And let the people say, Amen.